Set, the great dragon, the all-consuming serpent, exists as a ravenous, otherworldly entity whose very essence is an affront to reality itself. Known also by ancient and cursed names like Yig and Quetzalcoatl, Set is a deity of unimaginable hunger and corruption. His physical form is an amalgamation of twisting, scaled chaos that distorts and warps the world around him. He's not bound by natural laws, but thrives in their perversion. His presence drives mortals to madness, and those who seek his favor or touch his sacred relics find themselves consumed by a power that tears at the flesh and mind alike. Set's power is not a gift, but a consuming force, gnawing at the soul until only a hollow, twisted reflection remains. His influence spreads through serpentine shadows, and his name is invoked with dread by the few who know of his true nature. Set slithered forth from the outer dark, a realm of primal chaos and endless void, where light and reason hold no dominion. There, in the fathomless gulf beyond the stars, he writhed in the formless mists of cosmic nightmare before he forced his way into our universe. The world rejects him as an invader, an abomination that should not exist, but Set is relentless in his will to endure. His very being warps the boundaries of time and space, and the relics he touches, the artifacts that carry his blasphemous mark, no longer remain fully part of the physical world. They exist between realms, teeming with eldritch power, objects of such abysmal potency that any mortal who wields them risks being torn apart by the unleashed forces. It is whispered that the thin fabric of reality around Set constantly frays, and where his influence lingers, portals to unspeakable dimensions can be found. Set is a deity of consumption and decay, a being sustained by the lifeblood of those who are foolish enough to worship or oppose him. He thrives on sacrifice, demanding the blood of innocents, the agony of the pure, and the degradation of the soul. His power manifests through serpentine magic, violent sandstorms, and the ever-present hiss of serpents that herald his dark will. Those who serve Set or invoke his name become instruments of his malevolent will, often corrupted into twisted, serpent men, their humanity slowly stripped away as they embrace the darkness within. Set grants power to those who seek it, but always at a terrible cost. Each invocation of his dark gift erodes the mind and body, corrupting the very essence of the supplicant. The power he bestows is seductive, but it is ultimately a slow and inexorable descent into madness and transformation, a grotesque reflection of the serpentine god they now serve. Set's worship spans continents, though it thrives most openly in the shadowlands of Stygia. There, he is revered as the Old Serpent, the cruel god whose hunger is sated by an endless tide of blood sacrifices. In Stygia, a theocracy ruled by his snake-worshipping priests, Set's power is absolute. The populace lives in constant fear of offending their god, or even the smallest transgression, such as the killing of a snake, is met with death. Priests drag screaming victims to Set's altars, where their blood is offered to feed the insatiable hunger of the god. Beyond Stygia, Set is known as Damballa in the Black Kingdoms, and his worship is no less fearful. In these remote lands, his cults operate in secrecy, performing their rites under the cover of night, ever fearful of discovery, but driven by the promises of dark power and eternal life. His followers, scattered across many kingdoms, form clandestine cells, their rituals cloaked in shadows, their devotion unwavering. The Serpent Men are the true children of Set, spawned from his will in the distant past, when reptilian empires ruled over the primitive apes that will one day become humanity. These Serpent Men are creatures of cunning and deception, able to take on the guise of humans through dark sorcery, infiltrating kingdoms and courts to further their master's agenda. They are the masters of illusion, capable of weaving intricate spells that cloud the minds of those around them. Though their true forms are scaled and monstrous, they walk among men as rulers and advisors, ever seeking to undermine and corrupt from within. Their loyalty to Set is absolute, for they are his creations, born to serve him in the darkness of the ancient world. Though their power was diminished after their defeat by King Kull of Alucia, they have never truly been vanquished, retreating to the jungles of the south, where they bide their time, waiting for the day when they will once again rise to rule over mankind. The touch of Set is a blight upon the world, a creeping insidious force that saps the vitality of the land and corrupts the very souls of those who fall under his influence. His presence brings ruin, whether in the form of desiccating desert winds that strip the life from cities, or in the slow, corrupting influence of his cults as they spread through the kingdoms of men. Empires have risen and fallen under the shadow of Set, their rulers driven to madness by whispers, their people sacrificed upon his altars. His power warps nature itself, causing the stars to vanish from the night sky, and serpents to slither into places of power. Even those who seek to resist him are not safe, for Set's hunger is endless, and his venomous touch lingers long after his followers have passed. The world, once vibrant and full of life, grows ever darker and more twisted, under the relentless pressure of his will, and as the blood flows, so too does the power of Set, spreading like a cancer through the fabric of reality.